Geetha is undoubtedly the worst champion in all of Pokemon history, and believe me, as a brown guy myself, I was quite excited and hyped up to have our first significant Indian or brown character in this franchise, and as a champion no less, and the incredibly hyped up top champion of the Paldea region. But was she really the top champion though? No! Sure, character-wise, she's pretty cool. She's kind, elusive, mysterious, fierce, intimidating, and yet supportive. And I always liked how she's super into cultivating the talents of other trainers and always on a lookout for them. She does whatever she can to help with those trainers. But at the same time, her presence and demeanor is something you can't say no to. Whether that be Larry's fear as a gym leader or elite four member or an office worker, or Penny helping her out even when she didn't initially want to. Geetha is simply just intimidating. But in battle, with a team like this, no sir! What the heck was Game Freak thinking? If I'm not mistaken, Geetha's battle theme is the last theme that Junichi Masuda has set to work for before retiring from Game Freak. And man, is it a banger theme! Referencing almost every old Pokemon title in one way, shape, or form, as it uses components from various different tracks in the theme and is just basically one giant mix of them. So while I do feel like the theme was used for a great character and a character that really fits, I don't think her team is worthy of such great music. Let's break this down, shall we? First of all, let's look at the two most glaring Pokemon here, Go-Goat and Avalugg. Two Kalos Pokemon with their other four members being from Paldea. Okay, sure, France is near Spain and Portugal, and because of that, we might get Southern Kalos DLC. Sure, I get it. But why them? Why Avalugg? Avalugg was literally Wulfric's ace, and he was considered such a waste of an 8 gym leader because all you have to do is touch Avalugg with a special move, and it's down. Go-Goat was also Ramos's ace, the 4th gym leader of X and Y, and is also a pretty mediocre Pokemon. Yeah, it does have a base 531 stat total, one that's higher than some starter Pokemon, but it just doesn't do all too much, and probably won't get a chance to because it's pretty darn slow. To be fair, most of the other Kalos Pokemon that are considered to be good have been taken and used by other trainers or were already used on previous champion teams. So it is a bit understandable, but I kinda wish they weren't on our team regardless, unless Game Freak has some crazy plans with these games and Kalos. Next up are Espatra and Veluza, Pokemon that both Tulip and Kofu use on their own teams in this game. And dual psychic types. Of course, one of them is water and psychic, but it is an overlapping type with a team that doesn't have good defensive coverage nonetheless. Sure, Espatra is there to set up the Reflect and make things hit lighter for our team, and maybe steal some stat boosts with Opportunist, but I personally managed to take out Geetha's whole team on the special side of things, so this didn't really help. And as someone who used Veluza on my team, I personally feel like her Veluza just ain't it. What really made Veluza such a good sweeper was its signature move, Fillet Away, causing it to cut its own HP in half and then raise its attack, special attack, and speed by 2 stages. Without that, Veluza is the weakest member on our team with a base stat total of 478. Espatra comes in at 481. And finally, the biggest atrocity of them all, Glimmora and Kingambit. Why on earth is Glimmora her ace? It is the perfect lead Pokemon, and Kingambit is the perfect Pokemon to end off the battle with. Let me explain. Glimmora's ability Toxic Debris means that anytime it is hit with a physical move, it will lay toxic spikes all over the ground. Hit it twice and that means that all of your Pokemon are coming in to get toxic poison, putting you at a severe disadvantage every time you try switching your Pokemon in and out to take care of the rest of our team. However, by saving this for the ending, there's practically no disadvantage to your team at all. Now, I get it. Glimmora is a Pokemon that can only be found in Area 0. Its Dex entry mentions how it resembles the Tera Jewels. They needed a Rock-type Pokemon to be your ace since no other trainer in the gym challenge used a Rock-type Pokemon. Blah blah blah. I get it. But surely it was possible to just have Kingambit as our ace Pokemon and have that Terrasilize into a Rock-type. It even has Stone Edge, so you know that having Rock-type coverage would have been useful. Kingambit as the ace also works much better because Kingambit has the oomph factor for an ace that Glimmora just doesn't have. And stat-wise, Kingambit is our strongest Pokemon at base 550, which is pretty dang powerful. On top of that, Kingambit's ability is perfect for being the last one sent out. Supreme Overload checks out so that when Kingambit enters the battle, its attack and special attack are boosted by 10% for every team member that's already fainted. Pair this up with Priority Sucker Punch and Glimmora's earlier Toxic Spikes, and Geetha is already much more threatening, dare I say, the most threatening champion with just the switch alone. I think the main problem with Geetha's team is that not only are most of our Pokemon slow, but the defensive coverage just isn't there, meaning that it's going to be very easy to sweep her, especially if you have Skelly Dirge with Flame Charge, Torch Song, and Shadow Ball. You literally have an answer to every member of her team except Glamora. And for that, if you have Earth Power, then GG. You're sweeping her whole team with just your starter. That's how simple it's been made to beat her. I know Diantha has been clowned in the past as the worst champion, but don't come here and think that I'm gonna go around and say every female champion outside of Cynthia is bad. Yeah, Cynthia is probably still the best champion among them all, but you know who else is pretty great? Iris. Don't sleep on Iris in Black 2 and White 2. She actually has a team of threats, and her battle felt very climactic and champion worthy. Cynthia, as we all know, with the pianos, her crazy team composition in terms of speed, offense, and defense, is still giving people nightmares to this day. All the other champions outside of Diantha and Cynthia, while some might be easier than others, such as Lance or Alder, are pretty much around the same for a champion fight, and they're all on a similar spectrum. I would argue that Diantha, for the most part, is on the spectrum as well. Sure, her team isn't the greatest, but it's not that bad. The problem with her champion fight in this game is that X and Y as a whole are too easy. You just get overleveled super quickly. And how those games did nothing, of course, to hype up the fight or make it feel special anyway, at least Scarlet and Violet did that right. In X and Y, it's not a problem with the fight, it's a problem with the game. For Geetha, the game is not the problem. Her character is not the problem, it's straight up her team. And you know that's true when some members of the Elite Four were actually harder fights than her. Part of me thinks that this has been done intentionally with her team in order to make the final fight with Nimona the more memorable battle. And it really is. Geetha even mentions that Nimona is basically stronger than her. The audience and the music during the fight sets the stage, and from the very beginning of the game, your rivalry with Nimona is set up for the best culminating battle to any friendly rival I've ever seen in the series. I'd argue that this is on par with how things finished up with Blue in the original games, only that Blue is a jerk and that Nimona is friendly. But it was done in a much more celebratory way. And because Nimona was basically given the spotlight, I feel like Geetha had been shafted big time. Part of me is also hoping that since we can't rematch the Elite Four yet, we're gonna see much more of Geetha in potential DLC, and maybe see her use different team members and show us her true strength that way. After all, though she wasn't holding back with that team that she had, that doesn't mean that she doesn't have stronger Pokemon in the back. But maybe that's just me being hopeful so that the brown representation in Pokemon doesn't die off here with this disappointment. Do I like Geetha as a character? Yes, I do. Do I find her disappointing as a champion? Yes, I also do. The plus side to this is that if they ever do bring DLC, they can always rework things and make her much stronger as a champion, and give us a fight that we only ever dreamed of. I'm eager to see more of Geetha in these games in the future, and I hope that Game Freak can deliver on my hopes. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Take care of yourselves, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you over on the next video, alright? Later!